Good afternoon, Thunder Nation. Wow. Take a breath. Find somewhere comfortable. It's time to relax after what was a wild week of Thunder basketball. Happy fall, everybody. I know it's been fall, but if you live in Oklahoma, you're starting to finally feel the fall weather. It was a rainy weekend, but it's cooled down. The weather has cooled down. We got our little fall decor on the podcast set. Just little touches, and keep it looking fresh. But also, as the temperature is cooling down, Thunder basketball is heating up, as I'm sure y'all witnessed this week. Oh my goodness, what an incredible week of basketball we were able to watch. So much to talk about. The Thunder never leave us with a dry week of content on the Will to Win show. So much to talk about, so much to get into. I am so excited this week with you all. Welcome to episode 3 of the Will to Win show.
Gone after the gather, the two-step.
DB, those tears are
Season so far, both average 14.5 free throws per game. Aside from a few great outlets like the Will to Win show. I call it abstract. All right, folks, we are here. Episode 3. We made it. What a long and drawn-out week we've had. We're 3-0. The Oklahoma City Thunder are 3-0, top team in the NBA. A busy week for Thunder basketball. If you told me at the start, I guess last Sunday at this time, obviously I made my prediction we'd be 74-8. This season, I was very ambitious. I still am very ambitious, but I was very high on this season. But that, as I mentioned in the podcast episode last week, this past week of Thunder basketball really scared me looking at the schedule because you can predict things. You can predict how your team's going to be going into a season, but you're never going to know until you see them play. And man, the NBA stacked the Thunder with some intense matchups in week 1, being Houston, Indiana, and Atlanta. And if you'd have told me that we'd be 3-0 without J-Dub in the opening week, I know the Thunder have been very kind of ambiguous and vague with how they've been talking about J-Dub's injury progression. We don't really know when he's coming back. I'm going to offer a prediction later on in the episode about where I think he's at, but I'm not certain. I'm not, obviously medical staff. But we'll get into that as we go. That's beside the point, though. If you told me we'd be 3-0 without Dub in the lineup after 1 week, I would have been thrilled. I would have been thrilled because that would mean we've won 3 incredible games against 3 good NBA teams. So, to open this podcast, I thought we'd do a little something new, a little new segment. I kind of introduced it a bit last week, gave you a little taste. But to kind of get our heads wrapped around the games, I know it's been a while since Tuesday, for instance, against Houston. Even Thursday could be a little distant in our memories because we've had another game since then. So this is kind of an exercise to kind of draw our minds back and get the wheels turning. These are my top plays of the week. It's a new segment called Top Plays of the Week. Top 3 plays of the week. I know it's a very subjective thing, and a lot of you could think some plays were better, some worse. And as the season goes, if we keep doing this, we'll see how it plays out. But this week, I want to kick things off with Top Plays of the Week. Alrighty, everybody, to kick things off, we are taking it back to Tuesday night, opening night against the Houston Rockets. Late in that third quarter, the dunk heard around the world. Aaron Wiggins, put some moves on Reed Sheppard, back to Chet, back to Wiggs. Goodbye, traffic cone, Reed Sheppard! Over the top, Aaron Wiggins with a poster slam heard around the world. Reed Sheppard, I'm sorry, man, you cannot guard. But yeah, what a play from Aaron Wiggins. Way to start the season off with a literal bang. Next off, we're going to take you to our second best play of the week. And this comes from a player who we're going to talk a lot about today. A player who maybe we didn't expect us to talk a lot about in week 2 of the regular season. But we're going to, because he has earned every bit of the conversation surrounding him. How about AJ Mitchell in the paint, working around a little hook shot, Xavier Simpson-esque hook shot over the Atlanta Hawks. An incredible play from AJ, kind of more of a symbolic play of the week he's had. He's really shown flashes of something things we have not ever seen from him before. We're going to get into him, obviously, as we go throughout the episode. That brings us to our top play of the week. A very scary moment in week 1 of Thunder basketball. Game 1 of Thunder basketball against the Houston Rockets. 9.5 seconds remaining. SGA gets the ball, taking up the court. No one else will want with the ball in their hands in this situation. Working on one of the best defenders in basketball. Draining the bucket to send this game to overtime. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, absolutely cold-blooded. He's going to take that matchup against anyone in the league. He is the determinant of these situations, not the defender. SGA is going to go get a bucket on anyone he wants. And he did in that instance, and he did a lot this week. We're going to get into it. Those are my top 3 plays of the week. There were a multitude of plays to choose from, so obviously there could be some differences in opinion here, but I hope you all enjoyed that little recap, some refresh. We're going to kind of go through the week game one by one in these games, and we're going to refresh these games and my thoughts on the games and their implications. Let's start opening night, Tuesday versus Houston. Bring your minds back to that moment. We hear round ball rock for the first time since 2002. I wasn't alive the last time we heard round ball rock introducing an NBA broadcast. Really cool moment. Welcome to the NBA on NBC. Oklahoma City Thunder are champions once again. The rings are distributed, and that banner rises. Okay, the players line up, take pictures, touch the banner as that dark blue banner with the white lettering rises up to the middle of the rafters. What a beautiful moment in Thunder history. It was so cool to see. Something I know I talked about it so much on this show. Something that, as Thunder fans, we always knew that in our lifetimes we would hopefully probably see. You know, if we all have long lives, we thought, one day we're probably going to see the Thunder win a championship. But for it to happen this soon in this kind of new era, what a blessing as fans to see that banner go up. Shout out to Dylan Jones. It was kind of funny, kind of sad to see him pull up to he had just gotten cut by Washington, for reference. But to see him come back for the ring ceremony, get his ring, obviously we'd love to have Dylan Jones back to get that ring. He earned it. But to have him kind of wearing street clothes, kind of separate from the group in that moment was a little awkward. But hey, first pick of the G League draft to the South Bay Lakers. Dylan Jones, man. Hey, every player in the league has a journey. Dylan, yours is insane. You're already an NBA champion, so you're going into the G League with something very few of them have. So shout out to Dylan Jones. He's going to kill it. We'll keep up with him as the season progresses. Anyway, after that ceremony, how does a team turn around and play in a game like this? Houston Rockets coming in, hungry as ever. Kevin Durant's debut with Houston. Houston, a great young team. Pieces like Amen Thompson. It's just quite the narrative going into this matchup. And as Thunder fans, at least for me, I was nervous because the last thing you want to do on opening night after winning a championship and getting your rings and seeing the banner rise to the rafters is losing to Kevin Durant. Now, shout out to the crowd. Y'all brought it from the starting lineups on. It was hilarious how you cheered for Steven, booed for KD. Wouldn't have it any other way. That's how it should be. But yeah, how does a team... I've always wondered this watching ring ceremony kind of first game, opening night games my whole life. How does the team get these rings and kind of look back on their past season and then seconds later jump into a game in their new season, usually against the premier opponent? This was no different. And the Thunder were a little shaky to start this one. Shots did not fall in this game. Shout out, though, to players that were ready to roll and at least fight with everything they had to stay in it in the game where they could easily let it slip. I want to shout out, I know he didn't end up doing much in this game, but shout out to Brooks Barnheiser. First quarter, no other team in the league, you're going to see this. A second-round draft pick, rookie, coming into the league, his first game, ring ceremony game against on NBC, premier opponent. First quarter, checks in, goes and guards some NBA studs. That is Brooks Barnheiser for you. That shows the player he's going to be in this league. One-time hats-off champion already. He hasn't even really gotten big minutes in the NBA action yet. But he's always ready to roll. He showed some heart in that game. Shout out to Brooks in his NBA debut. First player to ever wear the NBA debut patch. Pretty cool. So anyway, 125-124 double overtime win for the Thunder in this one. Oh, what a journey that game was. It felt like I got into my room, had some friends over to watch this game, and I sat down. I was trying to watch the pregame, see how the NBC pregame was. We'll talk about it. I sat down at 5:30 with my dinner to watch this game. The game lasted till like I think 10:30-ish. It was just such a long game. But hey, we miss basketball. Basketball's back, and we love to see it. And it was a great time, especially when the game ended because we had won. A little stressful though. Chet Holmgren, I predicted in this game he would set the tone and be that guy to will us to win in this game. Oh, little shout out, Will to win. Good job, Will. Chet Holmgren set the tone, okay, in this game. First quarter, he went ballistic. We were all saying, shout out to @Isaiah Joe Enthusiast, one of my buddies. He said, he was in the room with me. He said, the season ended today after the first quarter. If the season ended today, Chet Holmgren will be the MVP of the league. And you know what? There's no disputing that. That's how good he was in that first quarter, given it was the only game of basketball to be played yet. But you know what? We don't care. He set the tone, 28 points, 11 for 17 shooting in this game, 7 rebounds. Incredible night for Chet Holmgren. I predicted 25 plus. Boom. Nail a prediction right there. Let's go. He immediately came out of the gate and said, look, I am going to be a difference maker in this game and this season. And now let me tell you, folks, Chet Holmgren is just getting started. Aggression and confidence were there. Aggression and confidence. And let me tell you, the NBA better be a little worried. Okay, we're going to get more into Chet as we go. But we're seeing almost a different form of Chet Holmgren. Okay, a different kind of let's just talk about it now. I was going to say it for later, but let's just get into it now. Chet Holmgren last season, let's remember last season against Denver, opening night, we saw an aggressive and confident Chet Holmgren once again in the start of that season. But it looked a little different. In those couple games, he had a fire in his eyes. He was getting to the rim. He was trying to go over people. Explosive, get to the rim, get some post moves, some power moves in the post area. Spinning, dunking. He was dunking on Jokic. He was doing some crazy stuff. And it was a great kind of aggression and explosiveness from Chet Holmgren. And it was fun to see. But the aggression we've seen from Chet Holmgren so far this season, the numbers are there. We're seeing the results that it's bringing, but it looks a little different. He is getting to his mid-range spots, pulling up. He's taking open good threes. He's not hesitating as much as he used to. Hesitating some, not as much as he used to. He's being very methodical with how he gets to his spots. It's almost, I don't want to say that it's because he's afraid of getting hurt. No one should be afraid of getting hurt in the NBA. I don't believe Chet is. We see him on the ground a ton. He gets to the rim a ton. It's not like he's not being aggressive, but he's being smart. We're seeing an aggressive, confident Chet Holmgren who has now matured in this league, has gone through 2 seasons in the NBA, and is gaining that maturity and intelligence within the game to know what it takes to be productive in ways that will help this team. And he's doing just that. And I've loved to see him kind of find his groove. And I think it's a groove that's going to last. I think he's really finding his strength. And I don't like to say names. Actually, I do like to say names. I love to say names. Kevin Durant, okay? Chet Holmgren has looked like almost a young Kevin Durant in the way he's getting to his mid-range spots, pulling up and draining shots. I'm not saying Chet Holmgren's Kevin Durant. They're different players, but I know Chet Holmgren models his game after Kevin Durant. I know Kevin Durant sees Chet Holmgren as an apprentice of sorts. That's what I'm seeing, and that's something this league should be afraid of. Keep an eye on the way Chet Holmgren's approaching his game. We're not seeing him try to take people to the paint and dunk on him. We're not seeing him try to make insane highlights. We're seeing Chet Holmgren try to be productive and become a star in this league in a very methodical way. Okay? So keep an eye out for that as we progress this season, especially this week. I can't wait to see how he continues to grow. Okay, opening night. Shai had kind of a double-sided night. He was not being aggressive. He was looking for his guys, i.e. Chet Holmgren, to start the night, first half, even through the third quarter. But when it came down to it, Shai got the job done when he needed to get the job done. 35, 5, and 5. He got to his spots in the overtime, double overtime. We saw it. I played the clip for you. End of regulation, getting to his spot, getting a bucket on a great defender in Amen Thompson. And like I predicted, Amen Thompson made it difficult on Shai all night long. But I will say it was less of a symptom of Amen Thompson's defensive excellence, but more of a symptom of Shai just not being as aggressive as we typically see him. Maybe that's getting into his groove. I don't know. Maybe that's trying to get other guys involved like Chet, and it worked. The Thunder did enough to win in that game. But Houston, like I said, they're dangerous. I said they're dangerous last week, and I'm going to stand by that. Houston took us wire to wire, and they're dangerous. They have the pieces to be a great team in this league and win a lot of games and to potentially see us in the postseason. They're going to be a team that we're going to see and discuss repeatedly as we go. They have the defensive and offensive pieces. That big lineup looked a little clunky. Amen was taking a lot of shots. He didn't look very comfortable. But once that comfort gets there for him, I think he is the key to unlocking the success this team's going to have. I know they dropped a game to Detroit at home this week. But Houston's dangerous. I think it depends on health. I mean, like for every team, it depends on health. I'm curious to see how they do. Hopefully, they're not too much of a problem, but they're a team to keep an eye on. The most frustrating part of that night was we had to win the game twice. As a fan, it's very frustrating to see your team have to win a game twice. Kevin Durant threw the game away. Kevin Durant called a timeout 3 times. Timeout, timeout, timeout. He had the ball. He called timeout 3 times as the clock expired in this game. And the officials were looking right at him. And they said or blew the whistle. They said nothing. They didn't blow the whistle. Completely denied seeing it. I know darn well that one of those refs saw what everyone in that arena and everyone watching that game saw that night. But at least one of those refs decided, I'm not going to blow my whistle. That means that logically indicates there are ulterior motives and predisposed notions within the minds of these referees at certain moments in these games. We know this. We know this to be true. We've seen this to be true before. And it makes me very uncomfortable. And it's something as fans we need to continue to address and not forget. We won the game, but we cannot forget. I'm not saying, oh yeah, the NBA wanted Houston to win that game. I think the NBA is fine with us winning that game because it's our opening. I mean, I think the NBA doesn't care who wins the game. The NBA cares about the dollar sign. And the NBA, we're gonna love an overtime game on opening night, right? They try to make it interesting, but when a team deserves to win, they deserve to win when it's necessary. And the Thunder won that game in that moment. Okay. That's all I'm going to say about that, but keep your eyes on it. We're going to keep calling out the officials in the NBA, and I said it blatantly clear there. That showed that the NBA officiating had some ulterior motives within their minds and predisposed narratives. I don't know if it's self. I don't know if it's something they have internally themselves, something that was instructed upon them. We don't know. But it's something to keep an eye on and take a tally of as we go and see things, not just from the Thunder perspective, but from other team perspectives as well, it's shady. Thoughts on the NBC broadcast? I thought overall it was good. I loved Round Ball Rock. I liked the intros. I thought the pregame show doesn't come near what Inside the NBA is. I think Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, I forget who else is there. I wasn't impressed. I didn't think the insides were great. It was a little awkward, a little, technically clunky at times. But I think they have room. I think it has potential. I think it feels like Sunday Night Football, which I like. It feels professional. It feels good. It feels comfortable. It feels. I hope they lean in more into the vintage aspects of NBC broadcasts as we go. But I'm not going to say it was bad. I think it was good enough to make me satisfied. I think I'm happy with it. I think it's a step in the right direction, and I hope they continue to listen to fans. And we can't judge it off one broadcast, but overall, I'm happy with it. It was cool to see the NBA back on NBC. Welcome back, NBA on NBC. Shout out to Kenny Beecham. He has a role within the NBA on NBC crew. So happy for him. One of my true inspirations in the sports media industry. Next, we'll get into our Thursday finals rematch. Back to the media side of things. It was lovely to turn on the TV on Thursday night and see the Inside the NBA crew. The same exact sets, the same exact people, same exact sounds, same exact effects, just with an ESPN logo on it. ESPN, you did something right, and I'm proud of you. You listened to the fans, and you didn't touch it, except for put your logo everywhere, which is fine. It's your thing now. You didn't touch it. Thank you. We knew Indy was going to come in and pack a punch. Okay, imagine we lose Game 7, right? Last year, Indiana comes back to OKC as champions. We're going to pack a punch too. It's only natural. They wanted that win bad. Their fans wanted that win bad. It was a back and forth affair. No Casey Wallace. No Jalen Williams once again. No Halliburton on the other side. Both teams depleted. You get war flashbacks as this game goes on. My goodness. Battle. Physical battle. It felt like a finals game once again. But Shai took over. 55 points. 15 for 31 from the field. 8 rebounds. 8 assists. He did it all. And let me tell you, when Shai Gilgeous-Alexander wants to take over and win a game, he will. That is what we've come to know. He is that good. So if he wants to be unstoppable, he will be. And I'm going to get into that as we enter the next segment of our show. Welcome to Hot Takes, everybody. Week 3 of Hot Takes. We are so back, folks. We are so back. And I bet you're wondering, how do I transition from Shai Glaze, you can call it Glaze, I'm speaking facts, into Hot Takes? Let me tell you, this Hot Takes is an extremely important Hot Takes. Maybe one of the most important I will do on this show, because as Thunder fans, I want you all to take this home and to take this with you as you go. This is something I want you to really pay attention to as I talk about it, because I don't want to address this ever again on this show, because I don't want to draw attention to utter stupidity. One and done. Unless I'm forced to, I'm not going to address this again. It is so bad, and the narratives are so disgusting, that at this point in time, it is likely considered a hot take to respect the way Shai plays from a league-wide perspective, from as a fan base, not analysts, not ever. I think people with any sort of real basketball knowledge respect Shai's game and think he is already a legend in this league. But I think from an online fan toxic community, it is considered a hot take to believe the things we believe as Thunder fans. That is why this is a segment. This is a narrative we're talking about in hot takes today. I don't think it's a hot take. I think what I'm going to say are indisputable facts that you all are going to agree with. But for any non-Thunder fan watching this who listens to the online narratives and doesn't really watch basketball, they're going to think this is a hot take and think what I'm saying is insane when I'm going to state facts. So, I'm going to introduce to you all the SGA hater cheat sheet. Okay, 5 points that I want you all to take with you, do whatever with, keep them in your mind where you have them ready to utterly crush under your feet any sort of Shai free throw merchant narrative that you are presented with as fans ever again. Okay? This is a tool for you, and I have made this in the past couple of days. First off, point 1. SGA leads this is one that's common in these discussions. He leads the NBA in drives per game. 23 drives to the paint per game last season. The most in the league by a significant margin. It is basketball logic to say that, take names away, a player who drives to the rim downhill more often is going to draw more contact and hence draw more fouls than a player who doesn't. Okay, we're good on that. Perfect. So, a lot of people will take that. You know, I've had many Instagram comment section debates where that's the point I go with first, because that's just kind of a baseline logical perspective that I think, you know, any somewhat intellectual person would be able to understand and comprehend, right? But then they say, okay, yeah, he drives. Okay, lots of players drive. The difference is Shai's just looking for the contact. He's not looking to score. He's just looking for contact. There's a difference. Here's how you respond. Point 2. Shai shoots 55 to 58% in the past couple years on drives, which is a center level efficiency from a guard, something we do not see. So, let's go back to our logic, okay? A player who gets to the rim not only gets to the rim more than anyone else, but a player who scores at the rim more than anybody else, that player is logically looking to score, right? Primarily looking to score if he's scoring more often than he's not when getting to the rim more than anyone else, right? Logic. Third point. SGA's foul rate per drive is one of the lowest among guards in the NBA, which means that when Shai gets to the rim without getting fouls called more than most players in the NBA. So let's add that to our little mountain we're building here, okay? He leads the NBA in drives per game. He shoots a great percentage on his drives. He scores most of the time, okay? But his foul rate per drive is low, indicating that when Shai drives, he makes shots, but he also doesn't get as many foul calls. But people are going to say, okay, well, how does that make sense when Shai gets more free throws than anyone in the NBA? Because, back to the first point, he drives more than anyone else. His foul rate is lower than lots of people. Shai could get more fouls called on him, guys. People who don't watch the games don't realize this. There are many times Shai gets to the rim and he gets clobbered and the whistle does not blow. Do you see him throwing a fit like the Luka Doncic's of the world? No. That is why, once again, he is great. SGA does not get as many foul calls as, honestly, I believe he should. And that's a narrative for another time, because that's even enhancing this argument that would make people's blood boil. Okay? So, we'll take a pause here. Repeat the points so you can follow. So you guys can use this later on when people come at you, your friends, your family, online trolls, rage baiters. Okay, leads the league in drives per game. He drives more than anyone else. He shoots a 50 to 60% in the past couple of years on his drives. A great center level efficiency in the paint on his drives from a guard. And his foul rate per drive is one of the lowest among guards in the NBA, meaning when he goes to the rim, he gets foul called less, if you average it out, less than most guards. So let's say you bring all these points up in a thread with somebody, right? Where do we go next? What are they going to say? Obviously, I think we've debunked it at this point, right? I think we've said enough. No, because what they're going to say is, okay, Will, you're saying all these things, okay? Deep down, I know it makes sense, but watch the way he plays. It's poison for the game of basketball. Watch the way he contorts his body and leans into the contact to draw these fouls. He seeks fouls. You know, these statistics may not indicate that, but he seeks the fouls, and it's so horrible and terrible to watch. I can't watch Shai play. It's just poison for basketball, and I just can't do it. He's insufferable. We can't watch him play. Okay, I hear you. Wow, I know you're very emotional about this. I don't know why. I mean, like, you're not a Thunder. I mean, you must be more of a Thunder fan than me talking about Shai this much, right? But let me hear you out. Okay, I hear you out. Maybe you don't like that. Maybe he does contort his body some, which he does. Shai does contort his body to draw contact some. The stats are still the stats. What I listed before is still the same, right? But if you hate the way SGA plays the game of basketball, then you hate the way Michael Jordan played the game of basketball. If you hate the way SGA plays the game of basketball, then you hated the way Kobe Bryant played the game of basketball. If you hate the way SGA plays the game of basketball, then you hate how James Harden plays the game of basketball. Let me pause there. I'm going to keep going. Let me pause there. Those three guys right there. Obviously, people would scream at me, especially in this narrative about flopping and contortions of body, to mention the names Jordan, Kobe, and Harden with Shai. If all you saw of Shai as a Thunder hater, if the only thing you ever saw of Shai was the hand-picked clips of him flopping that these people see, you would think what they think if you are an average non-intellectual hater. It makes sense why they think these things. But if they turned on a Thunder basketball game, they would see everything Shai does and the rarity of these dramatic plays. Think the late March at home against Denver. Shai is in the paint. He jumps into Westbrook to draw the foul. That is he's very obviously trying to go for the contact. Occasionally, yes, he does. But occasionally, Michael Jordan did. Occasionally, Kobe Bryant did. And people will say, no, Will, it's every possession Shai leans into the contact. Yes. When Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant drove to the paint, they leaned into contact just as much as Shai did. Almost every drive, like Shai does. Because great players, it's basketball. Fouls are part of the game. If players are not set and they're not in the right position, smart players are going to try to draw the contact and score. 3 points is better than 2. It's logic. It's not disgusting. It's just how the game is played and how many greats that people laud play the game. So, you can hate Shai, but you better hate Jordan. You better hate Kobe. You better hate Harden. You better hate Wade. You better hate Wade too. Okay, we can keep going. Let's get into another name. You better hate Luka Doncic as well. Okay? Luka Doncic and SGA this season so far both averaged 14.5 free throws per game. Where is the narrative surrounding Luka Doncic? Okay? Where is it? NBA media, from top to bottom, aside from a few great outlets like the Will to Win show, from top to bottom, there is a double standard surrounding SGA and players like Luka Doncic. They average the same amount of free throws per game so far this season. Where is the talk about Luka? If anything, the way Luka plays is way more vile than Shai. You don't see Shai flying around the court with his hands in the air complaining. That's what Luka does. But people hate Shai because he wears thunder blue. Okay? That's the reality of it. This is the depth of the issue. Okay? Now let's keep going in our fourth point, the comparisons point. I know it's a long point, but I'm trying to give you some good perspective to use in these discussions. Only around 30%, which is a lot. 30% of Shai's points come from the free throw line. A lot more than a lot of NBA players, okay? And we can agree on that. Only around 30% of his points come from the free throw line. Only 30, though. That's the same as Joel Embiid and Giannis, okay? So if you hate Shai, you better hate them as well. Joel Embiid and Giannis. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Gosh. 8 names that I've given you to use in these discussions. Jordan, Bryant, Wade, Harden, Doncic, Embiid, Giannis. Let's look at Giannis. Last season, Giannis averaged 10.6 free throws per game. Shai averaged 8.8. Obviously, apples and oranges, the way they get their fouls drawn. Giannis is just going through people. Shai is more methodical with it. But if you're just watching free throw box scores and free throw numbers, then we should be looking at Giannis as well, because last season he shot more. If you hate Shai, you should hate Giannis. I'm not saying I hate these guys. I love these guys. I respect these guys, okay? I'm just saying there's a double standard surrounding media in the league. So let's refresh. Leads the league in drives per game. Shoots at a high clip. When he gets to the paint off those drives, his foul rate per drive is one of the lowest among guards in the NBA. And you can compare the way, when people address the way he gets fouls, you compare that to the way other legends have drawn fouls in the NBA, because that is just how the game of basketball is played, has been played, and will continue to be played forever by players in Thunder Blue and not in Thunder Blue. Lastly, let's look at how Shai, we've filled in a lot of the pieces to this puzzle, right? Everything surrounding Shai and how he's getting to the rim, right? We've compared him to other people. Let's look at how people defend Shai. He leads the league in contested drives. Contested drives. What does that indicate? Pretty constant contact. Okay? People are on Shai tighter than anyone else in the league because they know what he can do. Like I mentioned earlier, pick your poison. Pick your poison. Okay? If you want to lose the game, don't foul Shai. Don't be physical with him. Let him do his thing. You're going to lose. Pick your poison. Be physical with Shai and foul him. You're going to lose. That is why we're seeing what we're seeing. We're seeing the frustration because nobody can stop this man. When the hate is this strong, you know this guy is doing something right. Okay? So if you think Shai's greatness comes from the free throw line only, you're ignorant, you don't know basketball, and you don't enjoy basketball. Okay? You don't enjoy it. You're looking at the little tiny portion of the glass that may be unappealing. Okay? 30-plus points per game on 50% plus shooting last season, the most efficient season from anyone since Michael Jordan, any guard. And that happened right in front of your nose, and all you could talk about was this guy at the free throw line. Disgusting from these people. One day, people will recognize the greatness that's in front of them. That won't be today, unfortunately. But let me compare something. One last thing regarding this. Okay, let me go over my 5 points again. Drives per game, he leads the league. Shoots at a high rate, 55 to 60% on drives. Center level efficiency, right? Foul rate per drive is one of the lowest among guards in the NBA. Compare him to other players when they talk about how he draws these fouls. Fifth, he leads the league in contested drives, meaning when he leads the league in contested drives, the contact is there. If you're getting more contact than anyone else, there's likely going to be more legit fouls. He is getting fouled. He is getting pummeled. But people handpick these clips, and they don't actually watch basketball. Social media, when used the wrong way, is killing basketball because you hand clip clips. You don't watch the game. In the NBA, with all their little streaming things they're doing, they are making it difficult to watch games, which is leading to this toxicity. This is the NBA's fault. This is the environment they have created. One last thing, though. Let's remember a time when Russell Westbrook wore Thunder Blue. Westbrook, okay? So inefficient, so out of control. He was one of the most hated players in basketball. Okay? Say what you want. People are going to be like, no, he wasn't. No one hated Westbrook. People hated Russell Westbrook. Similar to how they hate Shai. I think it's something about small markets. This is not a victim mentality. This is just me noticing trends. People like to gang up on the little guy. People see in professional sports small markets as the little guy, okay? And people gang up. Big markets with fans who are not real basketball knowers like the Lakers and the Knicks. Obviously, they have some great real fans, those teams. I'm not saying they don't. I'm saying there's a lot of casuals who don't like when a small market team succeeds. And that is the root of all of this. Shai is wearing Thunder Blue, and he's having a dang lot of success, and people don't like it. And eventually, the tide is going to turn, and people are going to see Shai for who he really is. But I'm not sure it's going to happen as long as he's wearing our jersey. So, for now, we must withstand the bitterness and the baseless narratives from these box score watchers and not let it affect us. And that is why you won't hear me address it again on this show. So feel free to clip that, use that wherever and whenever you want to defend your star player and potentially your favorite player, because you have every right to as a Thunder fan and an NBA fan and just simply a basketball fan. If you're not a Thunder fan and you respect Shai's game and that you took something from that, welcome. We love you. Okay? Whew. Lastly, for our recap, Saturday's win in Atlanta. We'll go quickly over this. I know it was kind of the least significant win of the week, but we cannot overlook it because it was a big one. My prediction for this game was pretty accurate. Okay, a 117-100 win. It was a battle throughout the first half, but the Thunder pulled away like I predicted, similar to our first game against Atlanta last season at home. It was a battle, but the Thunder pulled away, depleted. Okay, we're depleted still, no J-Dub. But the Thunder always had control. Chet out of the gates once again, 31 points, 6 3-point made, tied it for his career high. Really, a lot of that happened in the first half. We're seeing Chet come out of the gates and be aggressive, which I love. Like I mentioned earlier, methodical and smart with the way he does it. 11 rebounds for Chet. Shai did Shai things. And remember what I mentioned last week about Shai and how we're going to see a different Shai. Obviously, we saw the same old Shai last year who's going to take over games and win them in those first two games. We saw a Shai who's, I'm going to go win those freaking games, right? But this third game is a Shai I was referring to. The Shai we could see. He's handing the ball off a little more, right? Because he's found guys who can do some dents and make some damage. We'll talk about them, obviously. He got 30 points in this game. Okay? Shai did Shai things. He got to his 30. But he did it on 17 shots. 12 for 17. He took smart, good shots. Had the ball a lot less. But he got his, but he did it in a different way, a more efficient way. And look what happened. The Thunder played a very well-rounded game of basketball tonight. The passing was so fluid. Everything looked so clean. Deflections on the defensive end, leading to buckets on the other end. Smart basketball all the way around. It was beautiful. It was an art masterpiece tonight. I'm filming this Saturday night. Tonight, it was a beautiful masterpiece. Okay. Hartenstein, shout out to him, 17 and 10. He's had a pretty good, or 14 and 10. He's had a pretty good week, some moments of shakiness, but Isaiah Hartenstein has kind of been that bell cow once again. AJ Mitchell, 14 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. That leads us to our next segment of the show. Welcome to Hats Off. Welcome to Hats Off, everybody. Week 3 of Hats Off, okay? Let's review our standings here. First week, Brooks Barnhizer took Hats Off, okay? Congrats to Brooks Barnhizer. Second week, Ousmane Dieng took Hats Off. We have a 1-1 lead between Brooks Barnhizer and Ousmane Dieng. Now in this third week, let me tell you, this was the most difficult it's been for me to decide who our Hats Off winner is. And let me tell you, I'm still going back and forth on it. I'm sure you can predict two. I'm thinking, honestly, 3 guys could win this. And I'll go ahead and say them. Chet Holmgren, SGA, AJ Mitchell. Now, here's what I'm basing my decision off of. Player of the week from Thunder, right? We had a lot of expectations going into this week of what we could see from different guys. Okay, and I'm looking at that baseline, the expectations we saw this week, and who leapt those and exceeded those more. It's kind of a teeter-totter, right? First, let's look at Chet, right? Chet's expectations, I made them pretty high. I thought he was going to have a good week, but obviously expectations for Chet aren't as high as Shai's expectations. People kind of expect, people don't know, people think he's going to be good. Is going to be star level. I think expectations were a little wishy-washy. I'd say baseline, though, maybe like a 17 point per game scorer, about 8 rebounds a game. That's kind of what the baseline for him would be. Okay? I think Chet definitely exceeded expectations this week by a good margin. Okay? He's had a great week, and that makes him a realistic candidate for hats off week 3. Okay, let's go to Shai. Shai's expectations were, what do you think? 31 points a game, probably. Okay? Doing Shai things. Shai's kind of been right there. He had obviously, the reason why Shai would get this hats off is willingness to win. Will to win. Again, shout out to myself. I said will to win twice today. I'm probably just unintentional. But, we wonder why we're called the Will to Win show, right? Because, hey, it's a good phrase. It's a good phrase. My name is Will. I mean, it works. It works. Besides the point. Expectations, right? Versus reality. Shai, obviously, against Indiana, he deserves a hats off for that game alone, a career high for SGA. And on any given week, he normally would get that. But if we're looking at expectations versus reality, AJ Mitchell has blown that out of the water. And that is why my hats off player of the week is AJ Mitchell. So AJ Mitchell, hats off to you, my friend. Okay? Out of nowhere, AJ Mitchell looks like SGA light. Okay, SGA light. Meaning, he looks like Shai. AJ Mitchell is getting to the rim on anybody, right? He's making very intelligent plays, flying around on defense, getting deflections, getting steals. He was on triple-double watch against Atlanta, 14, 7, and 7. He's averaging 21 points per game this week. Off the bench. He's looking like he could be a starter on this team. AJ Mitchell is going to make this season difficult if he keeps this up. Difficult in a very good way. As in, how do we make room for this guy in the rotation to what he should be getting? And how do we balance that with everyone else? This is a good problem to have, folks, because this means we have so many options. AJ Mitchell, I would have considered him definitely a rotational option going into the year, but nothing like this. Nothing like this. Okay? I don't know what it's going to look like, but he's going to get his minutes. And as long as he's doing what he's doing, he's going to get significant minutes. And he's going to be in this, if the season ends today, he's probably 6th man of the year, guys. That's how good AJ Mitchell has been. Here's the significance of what he's done. He's opened things up, okay? Think about it. Having Shai Light on the team, right? Having Shai Light, little Shai, okay? It's giving Shai a break. Shai can stay off the court like in Atlanta. A lot of that third quarter stretch, early fourth quarter stretch, SGA was on the bench, AJ Mitchell had the ball. The Thunder were making runs. Okay, he was doing what Shai did while giving Shai a break. That is seeing what happened in Indiana, Shai needed a break. Okay? And the Thunder didn't miss a beat. All that happened. If that can continue to happen, and AJ Mitchell can be that guy off the bench to command the offense and make smart basketball decisions, we're looking at a guy who's going to get a lot of minutes and be a key player on this team. At the expense of whose minutes, I don't know. But somebody's, because he's going to deserve it if he keeps this up. So once again, hats off to AJ Mitchell. We have 3 different hats off winners in this first 3 weeks of this podcast, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Obviously, people are going to say, Shai snubbed. How can he score 55 points and not get hats off player of the week? Honestly, I don't know. I went back and forth on it. But I'm predicting, here's also part of my decision. Hats off. Obviously, hats off is a week-by-week thing. But do I think Shai's going to replicate what he's done? Absolutely. And And I think Shai's going to definitely have his turn in the hats off conversation. And if we're even given the first 3 weeks, if we were able to bet on like Kalshi or something on that, maybe one day it'll be big enough people are going to bet on Kalshi, who's the hats off player of the week, right? Shai would or who's the hats off player of the year if we calculated it by the end of the season, right? Who'd win it? The betting odd favorite would be Shai. So don't worry, guys. Shai's going to get his, but I think AJ Mitchell deserved it this week. But let's get into SGA. Now the hats off is over. Let's talk about Shai. He was absolutely incredible this week. He can, like I mentioned, he can take over whenever it is needed, and he can take a back seat whenever it is needed. He is a jack of all trades. He's going to do whatever we need him to do whenever we need him to do it. That's why he's the MVP. That's why he is the best player in Thunder history. As I had mentioned on this show, he is the greatest player in Thunder history. He is simply unstoppable. Pick your poison once again. Guard him straight up and lose, or foul him and lose. Those are the options you have. Pick one and have fun. All right, folks. We are going to get this wrapped up with our weather report. Woo! Week 1. 2 double overtimes. I didn't mention this earlier. The first start to a season for any team ever with 2 double overtime games. Of course, it happens to us. That's a very Thunder thing to do. But 2 double overtime victories, though. So we cannot complain. We're 3-0. And we're ready to keep going. Will we be 6-0 by the end of the week? Here are our games this week, our matchups. 27th, Monday, we head straight to Dallas. A little road trip here. Woo-wee. That will be a fun one. Now, there's a lot surrounding this game. I know ESPN gets a 71% chance to win. And I get why they're doing that, because Dallas right now is 0-2. They have suffered losses to San Antonio and Washington. The San Antonio game was highly televised, highly hyped up. Wemby did his thing. Wemby went insane and berserk. Here's a lineup Dallas is presenting right now. Cooper Flag at point guard, Clay at shooting guard, PJ, Washington, Derek Lively, Anthony Davis. Kind of like Houston, it's a very big lineup. A very big, not very, ball handling oriented lineup. It's been a little clunky, and there's been slow starts, especially for Cooper Flag and Klay Thompson shooting the ball. Obviously, this team looks different than it did last year. You're integrating the number 1 pick into your roster, an already good roster, right? A roster that's going to look very different come next January, February when Kyrie Irving comes back. So they're figuring things out. And I think, let's look at the Washington loss. Obviously, we'll get into that game more. That Washington-Dallas game, obviously, it's a big game for us to look at right now because we're playing both those teams this week. But that Washington game, I'm not going to call it a fluke because maybe Washington's good. Maybe Washington just did something, broke out moment there. But don't look at this Dallas 0-2 team and think, yeah, we're 71%. We're gonna. I think we should have that. We've earned that percentage to win this game. I think we're gonna win this game. But expect Dallas to bring on Monday. If there's one thing as Thunder fans we've learned, that the Dallas Mavericks always bring it against us. The Dallas Mavericks hate us, and they're going to give us their best look. They scare me a bit, and I've talked to a lot of friends about this. When we're talking teams in the West that scare me a bit, Denver won, and then after that I waver. Houston's up there. Dallas is up there for me. Okay? Dallas is up there for me. It's freaking me out a bit. Okay? Because we have seen what PJ Washington can do. And then if you get Kyrie back and Kyrie and AD, if Kyrie and AD stay healthy, that is one heck of a lineup. And I guess it depends also on how good Cooper Flag is going to be. We're still figuring that out. We're still figuring out how good Flag is in this league, and he's got a lot of time to figure that out. He's so young. But you have some legends on this team, some legends in that Dallas jersey, and that Dallas jersey, man, is one that we have had a bad track record against in the past few years. So Pair those things together, it makes me a little worried. Obviously, I have no reason to believe that the Thunder are going to struggle. I mean, are going to lose this game because the Thunder have had the will to win. It's 3 times I've said that this episode. The Thunder have had the will to win and have won so far this season. But I expect them to bring it. I predict 108 to 105 narrow Thunder victory in a kind of uncomfortable, clunky game. I've said clunky a lot today. My vocab word of the day is clunky. Clunky, clunky, clunky. Add that to your list. I don't know if that's a good word to use or not, but clunky. Clunky as in weird. Like, there's going to be a lot of weird moments. It's going to be a lot of plays, balls thrown around everywhere, and, missed shots, low scoring, 108, 105. Thunder pull it out, though. Think back to Game 4 of the 2024 Dallas series, where that was a clunky game. That was the definition of a clunky game. But at some point, you have to just drive it through and win it. And the Thunder will do that, I believe, on Monday. Another close, hard-fought victory to open the season 4-0. Tuesday, 28th, Sacktown comes to town. Russ comes home in, once again, a New Jersey. So, Sacramento so far this season, a loss at Phoenix, a win against Utah. 2 interesting games. Utah beat the Clippers. Utah, we're still trying to figure out who they are, if they're going to be, at least try this year. Who knows? I saw they're shopping Lowry, so I don't know what that's going to look like. But Sacramento beat them. They have an intriguing roster. It's like the Bulls. They implanted the Bulls from the past couple of years on the Kings, and they added Sabonis and Russell Westbrook and Malik Monk and Dennis Schroeder. I mean, obviously not the whole Bulls roster, but like Zach, if you're sending your team around Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, it's a little similar to the Bulls. But so far, it's been kind of all Zach, scoring 30-plus in his first 2 games. Zach LaVine is going to be a guy to look out for. That'll probably be the Lou assignment in this one. So expect Zach LaVine to get a lot of touches. Domas was out the first game, but Domas came back against Utah, and they won. That shows his impact. So watch out for that. They're going to be healthy. They're going to be fired up. Obviously, anything that plays us this year is going to be fired up, and the Kings are looking for something to energize them and revolutionize this team into Western Conference contention because no one believes they can do it. Nobody believes the Kings are. Everyone's looking at them and laughing because no one sees where they're going. No youth, no direction, just mid. That's what people think about. That's what people think. That's what people are saying. And they haven't really shown us any reasons why we should disagree with that. So that's what, that's what the talk is. Let's talk about Russ, though. Limited opportunities in his first 2 games. They didn't give him the starting job. They gave that to Dennis so far. Limited opportunities for Russ so far. But he's provided a slight punch, an efficient 7 points off the bench against Utah. They had Russ light the beam in that game. It was gross. That's one thing I hate about Russ hopping teams so much is that we see him do all this crap. And it's like, I just keep seeing him in our jersey, and I'm like, man, I want him back so bad just to be in our jersey again. But that was gross. I don't like the light the beam thing. Obviously, I'm a hater. Like the Kings, good for them. That's a fun tradition. As a Thunder fan, I'm like, whatever. I'm not a huge fan of it because, they beat us doing that before. But I shouldn't hate on that. Like, good for the Kings. It's fun for them. And I just didn't like seeing Russ do that, though. It just weirds me out. He's changing teams too much. But it'll be cool to see him. Standing ovation. Welcome home, Russ. It'll be fun. I predict Jalen Williams will return in this game. They kind of did a similar thing with Chet in February last year, February 11th, I think it was, when Chet came back from his injury. They were kind of ambiguous. When's Chet coming back? When's Chet coming back? And all of a sudden, it was like, Chet's coming back today. And I was lucky. I was going to the game that day. I was like, oh, shoot. Well, that's a good game to go. It was a random game against Toronto in February. I was like, okay, lovely. I'll get to see Chet come back. So I think when Chet or when Dub does come back, I think it'll be a moment like that where it's just kind of random and like, oh, here comes J-Lub. I mean, he's back on the roster. And I think I'm just gonna take a shot in the dark. Like I said, I'm a volume shooter on my predictions. So if like something hits, I can be like, let's go. I got it right. I think he'll come back against Sacramento, and like kind of our second home opener, kind of maybe incentivize the fans to be excited to see J Dub. I think the Thunder will win 125-108 in this game. I think it'll be one of those games. Sacramento will put up a fight, but I think the Thunder are going to shoot the ball well and be happy to be home, especially if J Dub. I think if I'm riding with my J Dub prediction, I think that's going to really energize the team. I predict the Thunder get in a groove, win 125-108. Leads us to Thursday, 10:30, day before Halloween, spooky season. Day before Halloween game. They didn't give us a Halloween game, but hey, little pumpkin action. I was proud of this. Hey, guess who painted this, by the way? Guess who painted this pumpkin? You guessed it. Me. I painted it. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing to take credit for that because maybe it's not the best work you've ever seen. But the camera's kind of far away, so maybe you're not going to. I don't know if you can see all my. I don't know if you can see all my little. I'll call it abstract line action going on here. It's not perfect, but you can tell what it is, right? You can tell what it is. Is that what do you think that is? Let me know in the comments. What is this? What's on this pumpkin? Let's see if it's a good interpretation. Let's see if I interpreted the art well. Let's see if I'm a good artist. Watch someone put like a horse or something. It's a cat. Oh gosh, that would be embarrassing for me. Might have to hang up the jersey for my artistic abilities. My art jersey, which I don't have, by the way. Anyway, beside the point. It's late. Tangent. Back to Washington. That's what happens when I say Washington. I get bored. Okay, I pick up a pumpkin. Oh, that's why I said spooky season. I said the 30th. Ooh, a day before Halloween. So we're kind of getting into Halloween time. You know, what would be spooky is if we lost this game. Because Washington is spooky, man. They lost to Milwaukee, but they beat Dallas in Dallas. Like I mentioned. Keyshawn George, the sophomore. I'd be honest, I don't think I ever saw this dude play last year. I saw his name, I thought, is he a rookie? No. He's a second-year player out of Miami. He had 34 and 11 against Dallas. He's been their guy so far this year. Keyshawn George. Remember the name. Shout out to him. But if you look at this roster and you're like, how on earth does Washington come in and beat Dallas? Cooper Flag, not Kyrie. Cooper Flag, AD, PJ Washington, Clay, all those dudes, right? How do they come in and beat them? Look at their squad, okay? Look at their squad. People are going to say I'm stupid for saying this, but they got a little bit of a squad, man. Like CJ McCollum, Chris Middleton. Is Alex Sarr going to be tough? I mean, he hasn't shown much yet, but he's big. He's got potential. Throw Alex Sarr's name in there. He got a little bit of a squad. Don't underestimate Washington. That being said, 120-98, Thunder win that game. But I do think the Wizards, I could see the Wizards giving us a little scare, and we have to grind that one out. But I'm going to say 120-98 because until the Thunder give me a reason to not believe they're going to win a game, I'm not going to predict them to lose a game. So I predict we'll be 6-0 at the end of this next week. Anything can happen. Obviously, the game to circle on your calendar is Monday night against Dallas. That is one that could be a little awkward. So, obviously, any of them, though. Tuesday against Russ will be fun. And then if you want to see a good young team, throw in that Washington game. That being said, that wraps up our show. Week 3 of the Will to Win show has concluded. We went through a lot today. I brought up I probably spent a little too much time on the Shai thing. But it's something I want to talk about because once again, we're seeing it so frequently. It's fresh in my mind because I run a fan page at OKC_Wills to Win on Instagram. I just see so much junk about Shai in my feed and on my posts, and it just drives me insane. I know Thunder fan pages, if you're watching this, y'all feel the same way. So I wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of a list to use because I've been wanting to make something like that too that I can always go to. If you use that logic against them, you're going to make them look silly because there's no real rebuttal they have. All they can do is go off their own personal vibe. And if that's the only base they have in their argument, I think the argument I gave you is going to whittle them down to that. And if that's what all they have left, then you won. So use it, enjoy it, have fun with it. But other than that, it's been a fun week. 3-0. Maybe a little too fun of a week. I'm tired. Are you tired? I'm tired. Let's have a relaxing day. Let's have a relaxing weekend, rest of our weekend, and let's get ready to go on Monday. Another fiery matchup. So, with that being said, Thunder Nation, have a great week. Follow at OKC_Will to win on Instagram. I've been recapping all the games. I've been posting memes, content weekly, daily almost. So get in there, follow that page if you want to hear my thoughts throughout the week as we go. And then also make sure to like, comment, let me know what you think. Let me know, obviously, anything I talk about is up for discussion. Or even if I don't talk about something, let me know. Let's hear it. I want to talk to you guys. I want to get to know you guys. This is a community. This is a forum. I almost call it the Will to Win Forum, okay? Because this is somewhere for I want Thunder fans to talk to each other and grow together. So comment. Let me know what you all think. The Will to Win Show. Spotify, YouTube. Subscribe and follow, please. I love you guys so much. You know, we're growing, and we're hopefully you're starting to see the flow of this show. Hopefully you're enjoying it. Let me know if any improvements I can make, anything you see that you love to see. Let me know throughout the week. DM me on Instagram. Let me know what you want to see, and we'll get it done. So, it's been a pleasure. Thank you all so much. Thunder up, baby.